Only one team is guaranteed to finish the season with its record perfect. That's the Ohio State Buckeyes. Counselor Holtz is bringing a case that says Ohio State should be considered for the Associated Press National Championship. Counselor?
Yes, sir. I do, Your Honor, even though Counselor May says there's no way that should ever happen. Let me illustrate why.
Let Counselor May make his own case, Counselor Holtz.
Yes. The AP said that teams that are on probation will be eligible to be voted upon in their polls. The present time, Ohio State ranks number 4. Now, today, had certain things happened a little bit different, there's a good chance Ohio State could end up number 2, and had the other team, Notre Dame, got beat in the national championship game, they would have elevated Ohio State to the AP championship. It happened in 2003 with USC, which was not on probation. It did happen in 1973 when Oklahoma was on probation. So the point I'm making is we don't set the rules. The AP said if you're on probation, you're still eligible for the championship, and we go with it.
Your Honor, that's why it hasn't happened over 35 years, because they would lose all their credibility today. You look at a team that's not the best team in America, that's not one of the top teams. They may be 5th or 6th in my opinion, but they wouldn't hold up against an SEC team or against Notre Dame. And the other bottom line to the whole situation, Your Honor, is they can't play for a conference championship because they're on probation. They can't play in a bowl game to defend their undefeated record because they're on probation. Why in the world would they be ranked number 1 in the country by the AP or any other organization? Because credibility-wise, they don't deserve, regardless of an undefeated season, they're in a weak conference to boot.
We're not talking whether you think they deserve it or not. What we're talking about is the AP voters ascertaining whether they deserve it or not. And if they said if we don't want anybody on probation not eligible, that would have been the rule. Ohio State is eligible. And if enough people think they deserve to be ranked number 1, they will be voted that way.
Well, okay, I understand that, Counselor Holtz. Should it be that way? Well, you're bringing the case that it should be that way.
You're going to question the AP. They have their people.
I'm questioning you.
Rules. That's it. I don't set the rules. I only follow the rules.
You don't follow the rules of the court sometimes.
I follow them very, very well. But the point I'm making is this. If they didn't want them on probation, they would pass the rule. But no, the AP said you are eligible, and that's the end of the
One more quick word, Counselor May, and I'll rule.
On probation, as the number 1 team in the country, would be making a mockery out of the system, the entire system, not just the AP. But if the AP were to do this, I think all the fans, the college football fans in America, would consider that a mockery and mocking the system. Because
I'm ready to rule. Counselor May, your entire position about a team being on probation doesn't move this court in the least, simply because nobody involved at Ohio State at the moment broke any of these rules. They've got a new coaching staff. Braxton Miller and his teammates certainly not involved in it. The institution did, but you're punishing the players. But the one thing that I will say, and I think it was the most compelling and convincing argument made in this court, Ohio State's body of work is going to be incomplete. They're avoiding a couple of hurdles. They're avoiding the Big Ten championship game, not on purpose, and they'll also miss out on a bowl game, the hurdle that Notre Dame would have to clear and anybody else would as well. I'm ruling in Counselor May's favor. I don't think they should be considered for the national championship.
And I'll tell you what, if they play for the BCS championship, Your Honor, I'll guarantee you this. I'll grant you this. I'll dress in a leprechaun suit in the last final of the year and prance around this studio.
Cheer for old Notre Dame.
That's right. This is a decent team, but they're not a championship team. Cheer, cheer for old Notre Dame. Wake up the echoes, cheering her name.
That's pretty good, Mark, and you are a man of your word. And if you'll put your heart into it a little bit more, you'll really become true a Notre Dame man. Won't it feel good, Mark?
Doesn't count. Where's the hat?
Les Miles has it.
Oh, should have known. First on BCS Countdown. When we hand out helmet stickers, we send T-shirts to the winning schools. We hope they frame them, put them in the football offices. Just at Texas last week, saw a beautiful T-shirt framed right there in the football office for them. So who gets one now?
Well, my first one goes to Florida running back Mike Gillislee. 140 yards, 2 touchdowns in their game against Florida State, making a statement in that game.
And mine goes to Theoretics, a running back for Notre Dame. 146 yards as #1 Irish beat Southern Cal.
Jordan Hill of Penn State had a dozen tackles, couple of sacks, 3 tackles for losses. The Nittany Lions beat Wisconsin by 3 and won 8 games in Bill O'Brien's first year.
How about UConn cornerback Bleedy Ray Wilson? 5 tackles, 1 interception in their victory over Louisville.
And I'm proud to give one to Jadeveon Clowney against Clemson for South Carolina. He had 7 tackles, 4.5 sacks.
How about Jeremy Eddington of Rice? He took a kickoff back 97 yards for a touchdown. It was the first kickoff return for a touchdown by the Owls in 320 games since I was a freshman in college in 1984. And Rice, by the way, is bowl eligible after beating UTEP. And also, we have a fan tweet for a helmet sticker from Chris Cornwell. Show your gold, have fun, expect to win, anchor down. Zach Stacy of Vanderbilt, the first Vanderbilt running back to go back-to-back 1K. He gets a helmet sticker.
He deserves it, absolutely.
You know what? I've got two more to give out. I want to give a helmet sticker to you, Mr. Maeve, for being such a good sport with the whole Leprechaun thing. So Mark gets a helmet sticker. Wayne.
Thank you.
And you, because your love for Notre Dame. I'm very happy for you. Lou, you get a helmet sticker. Notre Dame's playing for the title.
Well, that's great, but I want to tell you, he didn't do it happily. Now, I want to say this. The band of the week goes to Notre Dame because after the game, they parade and entertain the fans long after the game's over.
Just like you entertain the fans.
Boom to the hay, all you sports fans out there in the Tubosphere. Welcome to the One Man Sports Rant. Gen 2.0. I am your host, Will, the alternative ESPN, and every other network that we cover, Sports Thrill, specializing in college football and basketball and all of the other sporting events in their singular nature, such as they may occur. Why such an emphasis on the college sports? I was a linebacker and off guard at the collegiate level, however short-lived, blew up both my ankles, never was able to realize my sports prowess, walked on in both events, but I was a non-traditional student, so I sort of screwed up high school, got my act together, got my butt back into college, and so I had to go that route. And I still suffer from those ankles. But the point is, I did not utilize my, stay in school, by the way, high school-wise, sports abilities to the best of their abilities, because street ball wise, you know, I got a reputation still back where I was playing. So I'm not a spring chicken, but I'm not you know, going through a midlife crisis either. It's the best of both, the maturity with still the physical ability and speed to understand it all, I guess. All right, so you heard from Accept, the original balls to the wall. It's going to be able to lead into for the rest of college football. By the way, this is the shorty version. This is the post-review show. As introduced by our Pi Kappa Alpha House Sweethearts, U of U chapter, Alpha Tau, giving you props. All right, so what do I mean by all this? You know, if you saw on the timestamp this video being 10 to 11 minutes thereabouts, this is the post-review show, which is what I mean by those graphics that I included. Much like when you go to a live theater stage show and it's kind of sucking, people with class, you don't walk out on it until intermission. So I understand if I'm talking to only 2 or 5 people, because this show may not be your cup of tea, but it is the post-review. You already saw all the clips, you know, to the sporting event that we were discussing about, and I'm not going to get into it more specifically, because again, this is the baseline show, and I'll get into the legalities as to why that is in a moment. I did used to run a law firm, so to those of you still listening, stick around because you'll learn something about the particulars of YouTube. But for the shows, you know, 15 minutes or longer, it's a totally different intro than what I'm doing right now. All right. So why bother doing a show, you may ask? Because the ship has sailed, in the sense of just trying to piggyback on somebody else's network and going beyond the 5 to 7 minute mark and just trying to put that up as not necessarily your own, but obviously from somebody else. You try to give them credit on YouTube. I'm sure you may have seen this several times. Your longer clips, say like beyond the 4 minute mark, where all they're showing is like the channel immediately. No, that does not cover the legalities of it. What are the legalities I'm discussing? It's a little thing called the DCMA, the Digital Copyright Millennium Act. And the key tenets that we adhere to on the OMSR are, as they were hashed out through WIPO, World Intellectual Property Organization. Fair use standard, minimal use, derivatives, and no money exchanged in hands. Of course, that last one's a given, but it's also important. But it's a given here because, as you can see, the OMSR is a pro bono production. We adhere strictly to that. And on that note, as well, all images you see on the OMSR, not procured or produced, 2-minute warning, so I don't go over on time, by the OMSR, were obtained through the public domain. So anybody out there saying, hey, Will, you're kind of using an image that we don't necessarily approve of, fine. Watch my dust. I'll take it down. Excuse me. Readjust it. The only sucky thing about that is you'll lose all the hits when you go to re-upload the same thing, plus the interest wanes on that particular event. But that's not important as opposed to what I just said. All right. And on that note, this show is copyright to the OMSR. Brief video highlights courtesy to the networks already discussed through Will the Alternative Sports Pro. The OMSR does not own these video highlights, but does own all the other original content and the overall concept herein, thereof, therefore, most rights reserved. Alright, so on that note, the 2-minute warning, we go back to our musical lead into Accept. The original, to the nth degree, balls to the wall. Perfect theme music for closing out college football. You got to play balls to the wall to get a winning record, to get to a better bowl, or BCS consideration. All right, so pay attention to the end graphic at the end of the show. VAC chart from the state of California DMV. They will throw the book at you. Worst state in the union, or best, toughest, whatever you want to call it. You get a DUI. You can pause it, freeze frame it, see X amount of drinks, your body type, no X amount of activity. All right, thanks for watching. Later days, and only a few more college football plays.